Welcome back, guys. Welcome to another guide. It's been a long time since I've done one of those, and today we will basically have a kind of buffoon redux for PvT, because I know a lot of you, including me as well actually, a lot of us Protoss players actually have been struggling with PvT, and I've been on the lookout for something new, something fun, at least new for myself, and Zest playing versus Björn has given me some new hope and some new stuff in PvT. So today's build order will be all around Buffooning a Terran, which means we will start out with a Stargate, we will get one Oracle, and then we will go into like a Blink push with a third base, and then we will go, at least this is how I play it, into a heavy gateway style with a double forge, and we will just overwhelm the Terran. So let's get started. It is actually kind of interesting to look at how PvT has been developing, especially in the scouting stage and in the opening stage, as in Cybercore first or Nexus first. Now what we will see in this game from a replay that I have played is that I'm scouting around my base to check for proxies, and then I go back at around 105 to check if we're being engineering bay blocked. A lot of you might be facing a lot of engineering bay blocks right now, and from what I've seen, a few tosses, including Zest, sometimes go for the scout where they go around the base and then go back and just keep their probe at home. So on one hand, this is a little bit dangerous, of course, because there was actually one of those games Zest played this opening, and then he got proxima ordered and died straight up. There you go. So what I would recommend if you want to go for the scouting pattern, because I would say it is mostly safe. However, if you don't see a Reaper, play a little bit safer. Don't move your first unit out and maybe even get a shield battery. The next step, of course, is going to be the question of Cybercore or Nexus first. Now, if you're below, let's say 5.5k, go for whatever feels more comfortable for you, which will most likely be the Cybercore first. Because with the Cybercore first, you are safer against the Reaper, you're safer against proxies. Right now, what I'm doing is I almost always go Nexus first before Cybercore, because it, one, aligns very, very neatly with the Stargate. Two, it aligns very, very nicely with my probe being at home, so I can just keep the probe at home, getting the Nexus, getting the Cybercore, getting the gas, getting the pilot, and that works really, really well. And three, it has been working for me. So there you go. What we see here is the SCV scout from the Terran, so we don't have to be too worried. Usually when you see an SCV, I tend to not be worried at all anymore. I get the 22 pylon, of course. And now, next big step, of course, is going to be what unit do we get out of the gate. Harstem has done a video on the whole Sentry Second thing, which is very interesting. If you struggle with the vision, go check his video out. Sentry Second is amazing. What I'm doing with this build order right now, because we are going into a Stalker Push, and there are a lot of variations of this specific build order, so feel free to experiment with it. But what I really like to do with it is go double Stalker, Twilight, and then third Stalker. Of course, after the Stargate, I've already mentioned the Stargate. So I start out with the Stalker. The advantage of that is that if the Terran doesn't build a bunker, you just kind of win the game. Straight up. Like, and in this game, our opponent didn't know that I was going for the Cybercore after Nexus, so he didn't go up. We didn't lose one probe. I would almost say one probe you can expect to lose if you go Cybercore after Nexus, and you're on a small map, and the Reaper goes straight over the map. In this game, it didn't go up, and now we just walk over with the Stalker. It's a little bit tricky. In most cases, you can just kind of chase the Reaper, and by chasing the Reaper, I mean chasing it to a point where you can just turn further to their base, and just buying enough time for the second Stalker to pop out, which you may or may not want to chrono boost depending on what you feel like and where the Reaper is. Right, but in this game, I just kind of take the risk, move over with my Stalker. Now, of course, Baby Marine here build a bunker, so nothing we can do. We just stay with we just let the Stalker stay here, and luckily, that also means that we know of every mover that might happen, and most of the time we have a recall ready, so when something happens that we don't expect, we can just recall the Stalker and be fine. Now, the unit out of the Stargate is going to be an Oracle, preferably Chrono boosted, and even more importantly, we grab a second Stalker, and then we grab the Twilight before the third Stalker for this specific push we're playing. Again, we're aiming to go for Stalker Push that hits at around 540 with 12 Stalkers. And if you want to hit at 540 with Blink, then we need to Blink at 540, and the best way to do that is, instead of like putting all of your Chrono Boosts into Blink, just get the Twilight after the second Stalker, get the 2 extra gateways, and then grab the third Stalker, or grab the third Stalker and then grab the 2 extra gateways. Both kind of works. In this game, unfortunately, we lose some props with the Reaper. The Stalker gets scouted because turns out we see everything that moves out this way. We don't see anything that moves out that way. Usually I have the Reaper killed at this point. Doesn't work yet. Or hasn't worked this game, rather. Right. But again, we grab the Twilight, we grab the 2 gateways. Then at around 410, we grab, of course we grab the Blink the moment Twilight is done. But around 410 we grab the gas and we grab the Nexus for the third base. And then from there on out, as we know from the Buffoon and PvP, what we do is we just warp in Stalkers off of 3 gateways. And that is all we will be doing until 450, where what I like to do at the moment is add 2 forges, because I will be able to warp in some Stalkers, and then usually I have the 300 millions left over to grab 2 forges. Of course, they might be delayed, as they are so often, but in essence, there we go. Finally, 30 seconds late, we grab the 2 forges for the upgrade heavy style. Meanwhile, of course, we keep on building Stalkers, put in 1 or 2 Chrono Boosts on Blink, depending on whether or not we delayed Blink, we delayed the Twilight a little bit. We might always kind of forget about it. If we do, we can just put in the Chrono Boost on the Blink. Look, guys, if you're below 6k, if you delay it by like 50 gas or something, it doesn't matter. Just put in more Chrono Boost, because most likely you will also have Chrono Boost left over. Don't worry about that. We can fix that. If you get like fucking high GM, we can fix that. And I'm high GM and I haven't fixed it yet. There you go. Anyways, we get the 2 forges, and then we wanna hit a timing at around hit a time at around 540 with 12 Stalkers. Now, right now we have 8 Stalkers here, plus these 2 equals 10, 11, but that one isn't quite here. But as you can see, it's not as if we are really trying to kill our opponent here. This is just to punish anything that the Terran might have been doing wrong, to be safe against some certain pushes. And in this case, for example, what we can do is, notice we can't blink up here, so we can blink up here, just to open ourselves up and keeping the Terran honest. I haven't talked about Oracle movement at all at the moment. It is, however, very, very essential that you don't lose the Oracle, because if you lose the Oracle, you will have no detection. I mean, technically you can build cannons, but that will just throw you behind. So you have no detection, you have no way of blinking into the main of the Terran anymore, and no stasis wards or anything. So the Terran can do whatever they want to do at that point, which is horrible. So you want to be careful about Widow Mines, you want to be careful about Cyclones. Right now the common answer to Stargate, and most Terrans will scout it, is indeed Cyclone Viking. You want to be careful about that. Outside of that, again, just don't fly into Widow Mines. I have to admit, I constantly do that. Just don't. If you expect a Widow Mine, fly in. Be careful about Widow Mines being behind a gas at CC, another gas, anything really. And just keep the Oracle around for vision. It's not about doing damage as it's so often. It's not about doing damage. It's about having vision, keeping the Terran honest, and maybe doing damage. Anyways, as I already explained, from here on out, what we could do is go into a heavy gateway style. I think you can go into whatever you want to go. You can also go into Colossus. This is basically the moment where this is the opening, or like right when the double forges go down. This is the opening. This is the build order. From here on out, you can do whatever. I've been having a lot of success with heavy gateway style with double forge, because it keeps the Terran on its toes. You can force out engagements, you can keep the Terran busy, and you will not die to some weird Raven push, right? Which means now everything that we have to do is add on a lot of gateways I like to add a robo at around 630, 640 at the moment, because that allows us to go for a prism. Grab another gas at the third base. As you can see, we only grab this one gas at the natural, but since we're going for the heavy gateway style. Again, if you go for a Colossus style or something else, it's a little bit different. We grab a huge amount of gateways. Basically going up to 10 is what I like to go for. And then basically the idea of a heavy gateway style is we have 3 sentries, of course, for Guardian Shield and so on. We have a healthy Stalker Ball, which I kind of trade badly with here. Actually I grab a tank, so that's pretty good. Healthy Stalker Ball is what I would consider between 8 and 10 Stalkers. I like 10 Stalkers because 10 Stalkers is one-shot a medivac without upgrades. And then we just warp in a lot of Zealots. And then we always have, as you might know, we always have these kind of timings where we basically hit 1-1, and that is a timing where we might have an advantage over the Terran, or we hit 2-2. And depending on the game state and how big the army of the Terran is and how much damage anyone took, we can then go for an attack, or we don't, and wait for the next power boost. Now in this case, I will be going for a 1-1 attack, but I want to point out that number 1, I'm grabbing 4th base at 730 because I feel very comfortable right now. And the faster you grab the 4th base, if you grab a good economy, especially without the gases, we just can get even more mineral income, getting even more Zealots. And number 2, by the way, real quick, this is not a good economy. 64 props is not good, but I could have been building more props. But number 2, I'm grabbing a second robo in a Colossus Bay while all of this is happening. I feel like 730, 740 is around a good time to transition to Colossi. Of course, as always, it depends on the game state. You can also go to Storm if you want to. I really like going for Colossi at the moment, just because Storm has like this ugly timer versus EMPs. And usually Terrans really like to go for Ghost versus Heavy Gateway composition as well, because turns out EMP is really good versus Protoss in general, right? So going Colossus oftentimes is a lot more helpful and transitions a lot better into the Disruptor style. That oftentimes is the late game of PvT, right? You go Disruptor, Blink, DT. But of course, until that point, we still constantly warp in units, and then we just go for whatever we feel like, right? 1-1 timing, 2-2 timing. In this game, I go for 1-1 timing because I know my opponent is lower in MMR than I am, so I'm just going to be a little bit more aggressive. I take a bad fight, which is really good for this replay to show off. I take a bad fight by blinking into the bio, not having enough charge slots that would tank it, right? The Stalkers are there to snipe medivacs, to maybe snipe tanks, but also just dish out damage over time. Now, without enough charge slots and by blinking the Stalkers in the front, that doesn't quite work out. You always want to take fights where you kind of can surround the Terran player if you can. Also, if I would have gotten a War Prism, I could have done harassment. What I would always recommend is have some harassment ready. I mean, actually no, I don't have War Prism at all. I thought this is an Oracle. So in an ideal scenario, this attack would have happened together with a War Prism with 4 Zealots in, that we are ready for a warp in, together with another Zealot run by that goes in here. And as you can see, the Terran would have been completely dead if that would have happened. And as you can see, if you look at the bank, that is 100% possible. The robo was out. The gateway count is up. We're at 11 gateways right now. It would have been easily possible. I just didn't do it. So this goes to show that where I can still improve, where you can maybe see opportunities in this style. And also that actually doesn't matter that much, because now we just still kind of trade out decently because of the upgrade advantage. Get some SCVs, and then oh yeah, no, we got some more Zealots, because turns out 11 gateways build Zealots pretty quickly, and then we just move in again, because I know that we are pretty far ahead and we traded out really well, and this is how we win the game. Now, this is what I would really consider the buffoon. Some games you just win with a Blink Stalker push here. That sometimes happens. It depends on the map, of course. Oxide is kind of a bad map because of the ramp. It's not easy to go in if the Terran doesn't build a bunker. You can usually with a bit of micro trade really well, because then you just trade versus the Marines, or like we don't even trade. You just shoot at the Marines, micro back, shoot at the Marines, micro back, and then oftentimes by the time the Oracle flies in, you can just move over them. Again, the usual scary times of Terran still applies, of like the 450 Widowmine drop. You have to be careful about that. You have to be careful about not losing your Oracle, otherwise mine drops that are stealth mine drops or stealth banshees might just destroy your entire life in the game. And of course, if a Terran moves out, you will already have a pretty good Stalker count and just can grab shield batteries and hold most of the early pushes from Terran, because your blink is going to be fast enough. You have stasis wards potentially. You can keep them maybe back with oracles, and you have a pretty good Stalker amount. But then it comes down to holding Terran pushes and how to micro and how to defend them. So this build is a very, I think up to the Double Forge is a really good general opening. Again, we talked about the different ways to scout, or whether we talked about the way I scouted here, and then you can still scout for after the gateway, of course. It doesn't make the build unplayable. Scouting patterns have nothing to do with the build. It's just how I like to scout right now. And the opening itself is pretty safe because you go for a Stargate. You can still go for all of this with the Cybercore first. Everything will be a little bit off, but that little bit off usually will not mean anything big. I just like to be as greedy as possible with the Terrans and don't respect their cheeses. So guys, I hope this video was helpful. I hope you might have found some inspiration in this style. And of course, I forgot to mention, go charge after blink. Straight charge after blink. I thought it was obvious, so I forgot to mention it, but there you go. I'm going to upload this replay to Spawning Tools, so the link is going to be down below. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I really hope it helped. A lot of people are struggling with PvT right now. This might be some interesting thing to go for. Guys, love you all. If you enjoyed the content, feel free to like, share, comment, subscribe, all the usual stuff, and ring the bell, of course. And also, I stream every day, Monday to Friday. I stream 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. CET on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I stream 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. CET on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I've changed my streaming schedule, so that might be interesting checking out if you haven't been able to catch my streams yet. And I think that's going to be it. See you guys on the next video. The next one is probably going to be in Iron Lazy replays. This is going to be going up on Wednesday. It's going to be interesting. And yeah, take care, guys. Good luck on the ladder. Peace.